You know what? Go back here. We're gonna get in a fight or two because that'll, like, speed along the day cycling. I need the day to cycle once so I can go, like, Digivolve Garurumon and stuff, and then we can come back here and grind after that. I did hear that My Hero Academia is ending soon, and honestly, Academia, I fell off hard with Academia because I also thought that there was a certain point in it where it kind of lost my interest. A little bit. I didn't really like what Horikoshi was doing, mainly with Deku, which I think has already happened in the anime by now. But I was reading the manga weekly of Academia back when, like, Academia Season 3 or Season 4 dropped or something like that. And Horikoshi was making decisions with it that I didn't really like, so I stopped reading and watching it. But now that it's almost done, I want to go back and read through it all. Because I think I'd only have to read, like, 200 chapters or something, based on where I left the... Because it's like, what? The manga chapters in Academia are, like, in the 400s or something, right? I think I was at, like, 200 or something when I stopped reading. So I've already read, like, half of it. I should read the rest of it once it's done. How close for Sylphimon to Valkyriemon? 10 more levels. I think it's... I'm pretty sure it's level 52 for Valkyriemon. Have you read Orient? No, never heard of it. Sonic Blades. Have you read Kaiju number 8? No. That sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar? I've definitely heard of Kaiju number 8 before, but no, I haven't seen it. Yo, Yu Yu Hakusho is incredible. Highly recommend the Yu Yu Hakusho dub, even. It's got a great dub. Alright. This Greymon finally got to level 33. That's awesome. One more level, and then it's Metal Greymon, who might have a quest for us. Or will have a quest for us. Garurumon, put on these shoes. There we go, finally. At long last. MHA is at 426 chapters now. I think I was around 200 chapters when I was reading MHA. So if it's almost done, I'm definitely gonna binge it probably in the next month or two. I'll probably wait until it is done. That, like, they say, like, the final chapter is gone live. And then I'll just binge it within, like, a week. I can read 200 chapters in a week because I read Attack on Titan when it was, like, 10 chapters from being done. So it was, like, 130 Attack on Titan chapters. I read it in one weekend. And for those of you who don't know, Attack on Titan chapters are, like, they're longer than, because it releases monthly, they're longer than your average manga chapter. Like, I feel like the average is usually, like, Naruto, which is around 20 pages, give or take. That's about what, like, JJK does. Attack on Titan would do, like, 40-page chapters, and I read, like, 130 of them in one weekend. Oh, look at me. I'm Chaos. I can read. Look at me. I'm learned, chat. I'm so very learned. Attack on Titan was definitely something. We've said this about, like, 3 manga in a row, but I'm gonna say the exact same thing again. I think Attack on Titan is actually incredible up until after the basement. I think that from the basement onward, Attack on Titan, like, super dropped the ball. Like, it became so much less interesting to read after the basement happened. I also think that its ending is, like, hot trash. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, this idiot just has to get to level 52 now. We're gonna have to grind that eventually. I've never gotten into Chainsaw Man because I've heard it's very gory, and I hate gore. I have a very weak stomach. Stuff like that makes me want to throw up. RTK and Michael read it, I believe, and I asked them, like, hey, is it worse than Attack on Titan? Do you think I'd be able to stomach this? And Michael was like, there's no shot you can ever watch or read this. Michael was straight up just like, you will never sit through this. Like, it will make you sick. Yeah, I've never seen Berserk or read Berserk, but I think it has a similar thing going on where it's, like, very gory. How is this single Sunmon not letting me flee? Are you out of your mind? Whoop. All right, we need to get to the end area here because I want to fight a bunch of Shakuamon and whatnot and get all the holy experience that we need for... Need to get the 6,000 holy experience we need on Flaremon. Because we have like 3 Digimon that can give us quests coming up. Peckmon we're about to get, and then Octomon. I think those 2 are going to give us pretty low tier quests, so we won't get much experience from it. But Flaremon, or not Flaremon, Metal Greymon is going to give us a high tier quest that we'll probably get some good experience from once that Greymon levels up one more time. And we're also going to do the Gold Tamer test before we get Apollomon. So I think between all of those things, we can get Flaremon to like level 54. We can get him close enough to where we can grind up Apollomon before we fight Grand Dracmon. And that's what I really want to do, is I want to have Apollomon for the Grand Dracmon fight. Behold, Air Cutter. Oh, I wanted to talk about, once we got here and, like, got into grinding and all that, I wanted to talk about, like, I guess kind of behind, maybe not behind the scenes stuff, but, like, the idea of, like, streaming in general and whatnot, and what vibes I go for, and why the Pokemon playthrough had some issues the other day. People who were watching the other day, or people who go back and watch the VODs, might notice that I didn't even really interact with chat a whole lot during that stream. I actually ended up just trying to, like, ignore chat for a chunk of it, because the vibes were off, I guess, is what I would say. Oh, wait, we don't need to go here. We need to use that teleporter. Whoops. Go back. Here we go. But, I think that playthroughs are a lot more enjoyable, and your mileage may vary on this, obviously, but it's what I go for with my channel. I think that, playthroughs are way more enjoyable when the focus of Twitch chat is not on trying to lead the player or like give tips or hints or like, hey, you should do this, hey, you should do that, and basically like kind of like mini backseat. Some people might think when I say like backseating, they might think like, oh, like telling you, hey, walk over here. I won't do that. I'm just gonna like tell you, hey, this can spawn here, maybe you want to do that, or like, hey, this is how this game mechanic works, etc. and whatnot. And to me, that's still backseating. That's like, I think that it like kind of lessens the value of a playthrough compared to the person playing just sort of like going about it and working things out on their own, and what happens happens, etc., etc. And that was a lot of what was happening in the Pokemon stream the other day, was a lot of people coming in and being like, here's how you do this, and like, oh, that's how this works. You've never played the game before? Let me give you a rundown. There were times where I was like, need to try and find this Pokemon or whatever, and then when someone heard that, they were like, oh, I can tell you where it is. I can tell you where it is. Like, here's how you should do it. By the way, make sure you like, hey, look at this in your menu. It'll really help you out, etc. And I'm like, bro. Just let me play the game. Just like, you know. I think that a lot of people, when they're watching Twitch streams, get caught up in the idea of like, man, I really, really want to use I really, or not use. A lot of people get caught up in the idea when they're in streams of being like, I really want to be helpful and I want the streamer to like appreciate me helping them specifically, like get through a game. And I don't want that. What I want for chat to be doing is kind of what's happening like right now, is that chat is just shooting the breeze and chatting with each other, and I'm talking about whatever chat is talking about, and occasionally something happens in the game and chat will be like, I can't believe that just happened, or like, oh, Chaos walked into a wall, idiot, or like he walked right by the thing, blind, etc. Like things like that. Like, I'm not saying that I think Twitch chat should not interact with like the streamer in relation to like what's in the game or anything like that, because I think that's a little ridiculous to be like, you should never talk about the game as it's happening. You should talk about the game every now and then. Like sometimes people ask like, hey, are you using this Digimon or this Pokemon, or like, are you trying to do this? Are you gonna aim for like, are you trying to get Omnimon or like etc.? And like, yeah, we can have a little chat about the game in relation to that, obviously. But when it's like, I'm trying to learn something or work something out, and then someone in chat is like, I'll explain exactly how you need to do this, or I'll tell you exactly where you need to go. I'm like, nah, dog. Let a brother play the game and just, have a fun time. We do have the Courage Digi-Egg, yeah. We're gonna be digivolving to Shadramon today, more than likely. And I've been out of the Pokemon game for a while, but for those of you who don't know, because you, like, got into the channel later, or you just forgot, despite having been in the channel, like, been a member of the community for a while, I used to do a ton of Pokemon stuff. Like, I started my channel back when, like, Gen 7 was coming out, and Gen 6, or no, did I start? Yeah, Gen 6 came out in 2013. I started YouTube in, like, 2015 or 2014, I want to say, somewhere in there. So, like, I played a lot of Pokemon. I was deep into it. And a lot of my friends and a lot of people I interacted with were straight up just Poketubers, more or less. We do have a full team, by the way. Yeah, someone in chat can tell you the full team. But, I lost my train of thought. Crud, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I used to do a ton of Pokemon, so I like have a little bit of experience with like Pokemon as a community and all. I shouldn't say a little bit. I have a lot of experience with Pokemon as a community pre-Gen 8, because I was still doing Pokemon, and I was even I played competitive Pokemon for a little while. I was in like Pokemon leagues in like Gen 7 era. Gen 8 is when I got out, and when I was like, I'm done with Pokemon. Pokemon sucks, because that's about the time that Digimon Story Cybersleuth and Hacker's Memory came out, and Persona. I started playing Persona because Persona 5 happened. I've told that story 1,000 times. But I do think that there is a thing with the Pokemon community in general, that they are way more into the idea of like, I want to be super helpful, and I want to like backseat essentially, and I want to like, I want the streamer to be, I want to get a moment where the streamer is like, oh, that really helped, thanks, or whatever, which I can understand wanting the recognition, but like, it's just, it's not the vibe. It's not the vibe for this channel. You're not going to get the recognition for it. If anything, you're going to get like a finger wagging and be like, hey, don't do that. You know, we're trying to have fun here, and it's like a do stuff blind, etc. kind of deal. Notice me, senpai simps. I wouldn't say it exactly like that, but that was really funny, so I had to read it out loud. So basically, you know, that's kind of my view on it. I think that, and I think there's a place for people who do playthroughs who want to be like, I don't care if Twitch chat backseats me or whatever, they can do whatever. And if that's the vibe that a streamer wants for their streams, they should go for it, but it's not me. It's not what I want from my channel, and I really don't think it's what most of my viewers want from my channel either, to be honest. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the people who watch me consistently would not be watching me consistently if that wasn't the kind of content that they wanted to see. And so I do strive to try and keep that. Basically, to keep people from being like, hey, I'm gonna tell you how things work, here's how you do this and all, and like, hey, you should look at this, or hey, go try that out, etc. And some people really do try and like, they don't understand that, and I think there are some people who just don't really get that, and they think like, oh, you just don't want me to be overt about it. That's okay. I can be like subtle, wink, wink. And then they're like, hey, I think you should look at thing, or like, hey, what if you like went over and looked over there or something? And I'm like, hey, you're just doing it again. You're just trying to like lead me and get me to like, you're trying to backseat without being overt about it, but like, I'm not stupid. So I know what you're trying to do, and it's still not appreciated. Like, if I really want to get help or have chat tell me, like, here's what you need to do or something, I will straight up ask. And I have asked before. There have been times in games where I'm like, what the heck? I'm so lost or, like, confused, or I don't think the game explained this well. And then I'm like, chat, give me the, like, 411. What is happening here? I'm losing my mind. And then when I ask, people will be like, oh, here's the answer. And I'll be like, awesome, thanks, appreciate it. And then we move on and keep having a fun time. So, and there are probably some times where like someone says something that's mostly innocuous and actually isn't that backseaty or whatever, but I like take it the wrong way. Like, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm sure there's been a moment or two where I've been like, hey, don't say that, you're like backseating, and the person was like, I didn't really think that was backseating. And even I would be like, you know what, in hindsight, you're right, that wasn't really like, whatever. Like, who cares? Or like, hey, I'm being a little too strict. But also, a lot of the times it is the case that people are being like backseaty to some degree. And so I kind of like, hey, by the way, first Mega that is actually a long-term team member. Sometimes I have to be like, you know, like, hey, you are being it. And if I don't like crack down on it, then people will be annoying. We got Megidramon, Pog. Switch out with Apollomon. What if you played Digimon Survive for old time's sake? Kill that man. In-game or whatever. I think that YouTube and Twitch actually get mad if you say stuff like that these days. But, like, string him up. Moonlight, thank you for the cheer. Greatly appreciated. Take that guy out back and have some stern wards with him. So anyways, there's Chaos's little, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minute rant about how he tries to handle his channel and why he thinks that he's right in handling it that way. And maybe occasionally I go over the line, but if I do, I apologize. But I just, I really felt it yesterday during Pokemon, and I might even have to, like, kind of rehash this discussion the next time we do Legends Arceus, to be honest. But I wanted to talk about it. Honestly, I'm just here because you're the only one I could find that plays games from my childhood while we're on the backseating subject. Yeah, that's definitely, like, a, demographic. Don't even get me started on streamers that, like, talk about politics. Like, this is probably an unpopular opinion, and this is pretty much as close as I'm gonna get to talking about politics, which is that, unless your entire purpose is to be a political streamer, then I really don't think you should talk about politics basically at all. I think especially in the US in recent years, the subject of politics has become even more contentious than it normally is because it's the life we're living, But, like, I am absolutely, and this is all I'm gonna say on it, we're not gonna actually talk about politics, but this is all I'm gonna say on it. I am a strong believer that you do not need to make a statement about everything in the world. And I'm also, even more than that, I'm a very strong believer that you can be a streamer and not have to make a statement. Some people think that, like, you need to make a statement. I've heard people say exactly this, like, it is irresponsible of you because you have a platform not to make a statement about what you think is right or whatever. And I fully disagree, 100%. You should not be here if you're looking for political statements or for me to either go against or reaffirm your political beliefs. I don't care what your political beliefs are, to be quite honest, and you really shouldn't care what I am. what my political beliefs are, because I'm not like a politician or anyone who's even well versed in politics for that matter. You're not like I'm here for entertainment. You're not here to, especially like one of the main purposes of entertainment is to not have to worry about the stresses and like issues that are going on in the world. I can tell you this, I've never clicked into a streamer's stream before and been like, man, I really hope they comment on like the situation going on in the Middle East right now, or like what they think about the 2024 election. I really need to know how they feel about it. Anytime I've clicked into watching a video or a stream of any kind, my thought process has been, man, I really hope they make me laugh or they show me something really cool in the game they're playing. Like, I don't want crap to do, or like maybe they tell me a funny anecdote or a story about what happened to them today. I could not care less about what they think politically. That is not what I'm on YouTube and Twitch for. So, if you've ever wondered about like my idea on that, that's as far as we're ever going into politics on this channel. That's the cutoff right there. Is that it essentially comes down to like, you don't need to know. I don't need to know yours. You don't need to know mine. That's not what you're here for. If that's what you're trying to find, go find a political streamer, because I assure you, you can find plenty of them. You can find plenty of them. You don't need me for that. What are your opinions about the latest political controversy? Sir, I play games on the internet. Sir, this is a Twitch channel. It's got the same vibe as like this is a Wendy's. Death. Double blade. Last thing I'll mention on the topic is that, like, because I really want to get it across, I do really hate the idea, because I remember when it was happening, it was like right after the 2016 election, surprise, surprise. A lot of people were like, hey, you can't like be a public figure and not have an opinion on this, like you need to say something. And I'm like, brother, I like, the dude, like, someone is like, they say this about people who like spend their days playing Fortnite for like 5 hours a day, or like playing Jackbox games, or whatever, for like 5 hours a day. Like, shut up. Who cares? Yeah, level 55. We're getting there. All right, but now we're done for real. No more on that topic. All right, just 4,000 more holy experience to go. Not that bad.